Hello, everybody. My name is the Contrarian Bastard, and today is the first episode of Snaik Lounge, where we're going to talk whatever crosses down our minds. Can you guys introduce yourself if you want?
Liger and Duo.
Double
What's
A.
up?
Actually, since uh, we can continue on talking about the randomness of Breath of the Wild. We used to talking about what that happened to you last year because of mic interference.
No, I was saying,
Well, what happened was he was playing in a certain area, and at a certain moment, both an Octorok and a Choo Choo just appeared and attacked, and apparently the Octorok hit the Choo Choo.
Oh,
mhm. Yeah, the
well,
Octorok, the whatever it's the usual the Octorok is what it spit over my head and right over to the choo and killed it. It's like, oh well, that took care of that. They gotta do
well,
nothing.
to be honest, I got attacked by a guardian, and the guardian just murdered two moblins that were just in the way when he was firing the lasers.
Yeah, I mean, I
And
can see, I can see the Guardians doing that, but it's just like I can see the guys. I've seen that. It was another one too, but that was just like super random. Like the two enemies pop up at the same time, and I just saw the rock flew over my head and hit the after rock off the cliff. I was like, oh, okay, dead. Okay, good, that's good. And I just went to kill the Octorok. So it's like, all right.
But anyway, one of the topics I wanted to talk to you guys is what games, like from what is coming, what has been announced for the Switch, what games pique your interest of
Mm.
what has been announced, especially on the Direct. Like, what game piqued your interest
Uh,
of all the games? I
well,
am
if any,
personally,
go ahead.
well, Speech, did you talk, do it,
No, go ahead. It's
say
your
what you.
cast. Go ahead. Go ahead. Talk.
I am personally interested in the Disgaea game. Like, it's like Fire Emblem on steroids. Like
Okay.
you have 90. The max level cap is
99.
9,099 ESP. You have a lot of freedom to control how hard the game can be. You can adjust the levels. It is a really deep game, and I'm kind of happy that it is on the Switch because mostly the complete versions of this Gaia mostly comes for the to the PSP.
Hmm. I mean,
But
Vita.
Yeah,
so we're going to have the definitive version of this Gaia 5 like on a console I can own. It's for me at least. It made me happy because I have never been that fan of a PSP. Like, I never owned a PSP in my life, so I couldn't enjoy like the complete versions of this guy. What game have you guys been anticipating since the
Well,
reveal?
if anybody
you go
want to check
first,
it,
Liger.
yeah, I would say if anybody want to check out, you go to and do
What did you
it.
say, Anderson?
He was saying I go first. If you want to check out what I said about it, you go check. Basically, I did a video about it on my channel. So got
Actually,
it. So,
Liger,
but
actually, I wanted to know about the Tales of Trials of Cold Steel. Like, how is the game mechanically? Because I'm actually interested after you mentioned it. If
uh, it is a it's a mixture between Persona and Tales. That's what it is. Like a mixture between Persona and Tales. Like it's that's the best way I can explain. It has aspects of Tales, but then Persona in the dungeon thing that you gotta go through dungeons, and then it also I forget Persona, and also Persona, but that you have a real life sim because you go to school and stuff like that. Like now, the second
yeah,
first game is about school. The second game isn't about school. It's about freeing your country, so it's different. But yeah,
And the battle system is it turn-based or like real time or like the tails. I don't know how to call the tail battle system. I just call it the tail battle system. How is the battle system on the game?
No, the tail battle system. No, this is a turn based. It's not action based like Tails.
Also, it's more of a turn-based game.
It's a turn-based game, but it's like I said, the reason I say it's like Tales because the art style reminds me of Tales. The way the story is constructed is kind of like Tales a little bit, and it has like enemies on the road, like enemies. You don't get random encounters, thank goodness. There's no such
Oh,
thing as random.
is if there's an old school mechanic from RPs I used to despise with the random encounter, especially the games that made it so common to get a battle. Like you take two steps and you have a battle. Like
Yep.
those were a pain in the ass. So yeah,
Well,
I'm
so
glad that they did like that. So Kenoshi has joined the podcast. You can introduce yourself, Kenoshi.
well, I am Kenoshi Abominita. There's the reason. There's the reason that they had random encounters is because there's not enough memory to have a bunch of enemies on screen.
No, it is, but yeah, but there are games like that. That's still there's game that does that now. You ain't got enough to remember now. I
No,
understand back then.
I'm talking about back then.
Yeah, no, no, and I'm with you there. Like I said back then, yes, and that's one of the reasons that pulled me away from Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, believe me, they still should fix the damn caves and see the and seas. If you don't have a repel, you're going to hate Subats.
Oh,
Like
I don't care about that Zubac thing. That never bothered me. I just
no, I mean the caves have random encounters, and you sometimes try to explore a cave in Pokemon, and a random encounter appear, and mostly Subats that appear on the damn cave.
no, I got it. I played the game. I know what you meant. I'm just saying that is the turn-based aspect really is what turned me off from Pokemon when I first played it. It's like
Well,
I played red, I played blue, I played yellow, I played gold, I played silver, and then after a while I was like, you got too monotonous, and I turned off from it. And basically that it was Pokemon that turned me off from RPGs really in a way. And then I played Tales of Symphonia, and then I got back into it. So and again, I'm not against Pokemon because I might pick up one of Pokemon's Sun or Moon. I might would do that because it's been such a good. People will say it's a different type of game. It's not the same. It has the random concept still, but like in that regard. So yeah, but it just that was the game that turned me
I
off from doing it.
Yeah, I understand because during like Ruby and Sapphire didn't change the game much, but after like Generation 5, the franchise has been like changing drastically, both story wise and mechanic wise. Like they added a lot of things to make your life easier in a sense, and the game's more enjoyable. Like Infinite TM, they added more battle modes like triple and rotation battle. They added Mega Evolution. Like, they added a lot of new mechanics. So
Hmm.
it's just this Gen 3 was like it got stagnant. At this point, they didn't change that much during that time. So I do understand how you feel.
Yes.
But actually, Kenoshi, the topic we're talking about is the Switch games you're highly anticipating from what we know.
No, I would say
Like
Battle Chasers is one of the games I'm excited for.
actually,
Hmm.
Battle Chaser is that an RPG like a turn-based RPG?
Yeah, yeah, it's a turn-based
Yes, I'm
RPG.
actually I got interested by the like in the direct. That was one of the games that interested me. Well,
Yeah,
because to be honest, Arms doesn't interest me as much as other people, at least from what I seen.
Well, yeah. All right. Everybody to each their own. Like I said.
Actually, any of you are going to buy Arms, like
Yep. Yeah, I am.
well, at least if I can see solid gameplay for because actually happened to me during Splatoon. Like when Splatoon was first announced, it to be honest, I found it when it was announced, but the global test fire changed my opinion completely. And Splatoon is one of my favorite Wii U games.
I got
So
you.
so I sometimes I just need a little play time with Arms so I can like what from what they have been announcing, the game is just like they're taking it too slow, and they're not announcing that many things that will excite me for ARMS.
I got you. Well, like I said, each their own. That's cool.
And actually, have
Me, like I said, for me, I just like a different. I like experimenting with with a lot of games. So that's what helped make me feel like, oh, okay, this is pretty cool.
yeah, actually, I am one. I am really open-minded when it comes to games. Like, I'm one of those few people that I can accept change in a franchise without bitching
Okay.
about it. Like, I'm more open-minded in my CV, so I'm going to give Arms a try. But at least now, as it seems, like it doesn't interest me that much. Splatoon 2 is a must-buy for me at this
Got you.
point.
Got you.
I haven't. You guys know about video game news more than me. Have there been any like LBCs recently that I don't know about?
No, not really. And well, I mean, the usual
Don't know,
stuff.
don't care.
Well, not really. I said there've been stuff, but it's nothing really like make it, whatever. But I'll say this though, I do thank you because I am going to use not the last report that you did, the other one you did before. I'm gonna use that as one of my LBC before for like the end of talk on certain things.
Oh, the top 10 reasons why the Wii U was a failure.
Yep, because most of that crap is total garbage total
Oh,
garbage and total lies.
believe me, LiveWire has been on a roll attacking the Wii U since the Switch launch.
Oh, good for them. I'm not arguing with I'm not arguing with that they do it. My thing is when I do LBC is because people do it's lies. I mean, it's bad enough to saying, but I mean, don't lie.
Actually, that article contradict himself.
Yep.
He said the
Yes, it
Wii U.
does.
He said that the Wii was a failure. Wii U was a failure because it abandoned the casuals, but it was never truly hardcore. So what the fuck was it then?
Well,
Makes sense. Yeah.
that was crazy. And then your comparison would kill me. One of the comparison would kill me. It's not an iPad. No shit.
Of course it isn't, you morons. It's like,
Who said it? If you wanted an iPad, you could have bought an iPad. The game tablet was never said to be an iPad. It was trying to use the touch to a different type of way of playing the game. So that was weird.
he said like the first you can see the article was LBC by the first phrase, like it was underpowered. It was like, oh god, generic insult number one. Like
Yeah, well,
it,
that's what it
it
is. It's underpowered. It's underpowered. Well, like I said before, if it's underpowered, damn, I'm playing Breath of the Wild on Zelda right now. If this is an underpowered game, then hey, I'll take it.
but isn't the Wii U the only one, the console that had a game that run 1080p 60 frames per second?
See,
Yep,
Smash.
Mm.
yep.
So if it is underpowered, why does it have that feat?
Because
Optimization.
well, Nintendo makes their
Double,
games. I know
double
that.
A. Stop using bad words in my
I know, right?
podcast.
Seriously.
That is a dirty word, like optimization. We all know you just had to have power and teraflops, and that makes a good console.
Sure, it does. I let these people live their dreams.
Well, I saw Dr. Feelgood, like a Dr. Feelgood video that addressed that issue.
How the hell
The
is this open?
that supposedly the consoles have lots of power, but most of it underutilized.
Duh, because there's no there's
Sure.
there's all third parties who don't really take the time to do it. They push the games out because they gotta meet their marketing. While if you got a first party or second party, you have many times to relax and bake the game and then bring it out. You
And
know, onto that.
That's why Switch is
the
bad.
power is huge goal because the Wii was underpowered, but Mario Galaxy was a beautiful game.
Well,
Art style.
well,
I mean, no, they
that's
optimize
That's what I'm
And
saying.
that's
It's
a dirty word.
optimization. Yep.
That's a dirty word, folks.
Stop using dirty words. It's going to be, this podcast is going to be rated R like soon because of all the dirty words.
No,
Yeah,
it's gonna be rated NC-17.
I know, right?
Like,
That's not only is that a dirty, that's really explicit and it's taboo because in this industry, I mean, look at all the quote unquote AAA games we've seen that have come out and had huge budgets and they hit the consoles or PC, but especially consoles, and they come out and it's like this game
Mass Effect.
it's well, Mass Effect actually, believe it or not, had its budget cut in half. And when you think about how like it has a lot of issues, but I've put like 40 hours in that game, and I think like there's a lot of really good ideas in the game, and like it had been in development for 5 years, and they had their budget slashed in half. I don't think there's anyone, if you would slash their budget in half, that could have made a game come out optimized for the console. Like, here's the thing: I don't even think if Mass Effect Andromeda and Breath of the Wild both took about 5 years to make, and both of them were originally slated to cost around $100 million, right? And like, I don't even think Nintendo, if Kimishima come in and said we're slashing your budget in half, or actually before if Iwata come and said we're slashing your budget in half to 50 million.
Yamauchi.
Well, I mean,
No, they won't do that. They don't do that. So, but Brett is giving an example. Yeah, go ahead.
I don't even think they would have been able to give you as a polished a game if that had happened. So, I mean, like everyone's looking at BioWare like you effed up, but really, you need to look at the people who funded the project.
Yay.
That's
Yeah.
that's because Nintendo, with every single penny they use it for something substantial. That's why.
Well, they put their, I mean, they put the budget they budget well, but when something is like majorly important, they put the money because they know in order to make money, you've got to spend it. Like,
and actually, Nintendo's actually really good at like optimizing their project because Mario 3D World, they managed to shrink that game size like the compression technique they use, like it is a Mario 3D was a really big Mario game. It only is like I think it was 2 gigs. I think it was the download size.
I think it was 2.1, 2.2, something like that.
So
But Nintendo's the only person that does compression.
Yeah.
No, that a couple of indies. I gotta be honest, a couple of indies as well.
Yeah, but that's one of the strengths of having that's one of the awesome things about being a first party developer is that you know what you know the shortcuts and the little tricks of the trade in order to get your game to work on the hardware. Like you know what you can do to get the shit to work. Which I mean, you know.
Oh, and can I go on a small tangent on Sony because
your podcast, dude.
Because today something really stupid happened to me that it cost me my ukulele cleared, and it got to a point where I almost destroyed my PS4. Like when I defeated Capital B, the game got interrupted because I was missing an update. But when I checked, then I was booted out of the menu.
It said it happened to me.
Yeah, Liger knows your pain, Contrarian. He knows your pain awful well.
I mean, this is Sony, folks.
When I check the damn update, it wasn't an update. It was already up. The game was already had the latest update. And I was like, God damn it! Then why the hell did it kick me out?
Well, I mean, you are talking EA, dude. I mean, not EA. You are talking Sony. Like Sony does things where it's like you look at it and you're like, why would you do that?
Hey,
I was in the final phase of the Capital B fight, and that fight is fucking hard as hell because it has 4 phases, and the third phase is a fucking nightmare. So I was almost about to beat it, and it booted me out. I was cursing like crazy.
Hey, again, I feel your pain. That's what happened to me with Tales of Steel when they did that bullshit to me.
Why the hell does a game need Need to.
I understand the update. I got a problem with the update. My problem was what happened to me, as I stated in my video, was Nintendo has access update on my 3DS and my Wii U. But they asked me if you want to do it now or you want to do it now or you want to do it later. I was opted later and he never kicked me out. But it took me from the game and he put me straight to the damn screen. I was like, what the hell? And he kicked me out of the game. And like you, I remember I told you mine was after battle. Just like you, I'll find a boss and I was like, son of a bitch. Really, Sony?
Yeah, they really should. They should give you an option to update. Like you update when you want to. Microsoft does the same thing with their Windows. Like if you have Windows 10, it just automatically updates. Like I don't like your friggin' update. I don't want to update.
Does Nintendo give the option?
Yeah, I think they do. I mean, for system updates, they do give you the option to update it because you could like just have it on your system and not forcibly. Although, like the way they trick you into doing it is they're like, well, like if you want to play the latest version of the game, they'll say, well, you need to update, or if you want to use certain features, like they did that with the 3DS. It's like I want to do my Me Park attractions and stuff like that. Oh well, you got to update the system. It's like, God damn it.
I'm going to be honest. Playing games on a PlayStation are a pain in the ass. You have to wait for the mandatory install when you first buy the game. The Persona one was annoying as fuck. The mandatory install took a long time.
Well, that's 7th and 8th gen in general. Actually, I mean that's PS3, PS4, Xbox One.
The PS3, man, the installs were so long, it was ridiculous. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, literally, when I got my Wii U, everyone likes to shit on that system, but when I got my Wii U, like the loads on my Wii U versus the loads on my PS3, night and day.
Also, we have there's a story I can tell you. He got someone a Wii U, and where they were at a hotel without internet, and still they put the game in, they didn't update, and boom, it was there. You could play it.
You don't need because the Nintendo, of course, the Wii U never had mandatory installs, except for Breath of the Wild now because that's the last game out of it. But that's the only game that ever had a mandatory install. Everything else was option. So when I played Star Fox and I bought a Wii U for Triple M, like I bought Star Fox. And then we put it. Me and Shepard was in the same room, and we put the Wii U on, and we played Mario Kart. We played Mario Kart. We played Star Fox, which was a brand new game at the time. Because that game just came out, and no problem, it played. Everything was working.
That's outrageous. Because I mean, look, modern systems today, you put the disc in, and then it has to download 20, 30 extra
I
games.
got you, smart ass. I got you.
Guys, remember the really long install time of Metal Gear Solid 4.
Nintendo needs to get with the times, y'all. Even with a Switch, like how dare they give me a system? I get a game, I just put it in there, and no installs. What type of bullshit is this?
Metal Gear Solid 4, if you're going to play Metal Gear Solid 4, you have to sit, I think, like almost a day long.
Wait. What? You play Metal Gear Solid 4? I thought you just watched it.
Yeah, about 30% of the game. So,
you guys are asses. Believe
me, I was at a friend's house because he loves that shitty series. I was in his friend, and he was excited to play that game, and it had a couple of updates you need to do, and I was like, "Oh my god, dude, this is going to take forever." Like,
well, I mean, it also depends on what your internet connection is. If you have shitty internet, then you're gonna. But I mean, here's the thing: like, I have FiOS. I have like high speed, like the highest speed, like one of the like top 3 highest speeds you can get aside from Google Glass. And not Google Fiber.
Google Fiber.
And I mean, even like I updated from my old like 60 gig PS3 to 250 gig PS3. And I was like, yeah, this is gonna be great. And literally, like I had to re-download all my stuff, and it took like to re-download all my stuff to my PS3 with my high-speed internet, and it took about 26 hours, whereas I had like 80 gigs of games for my Wii U. It took like literally 2 hours for everything to re-download. I mean, that's
There's the thought.
But believe me that you haven't seen, like, if you're going to play like a RPG on the PS3 and it has updates, you're not going to play it soon if that's what you wanted.
Nope.
Well,
But
people
but
imagine.
Devil May Cry 4, when I first played it, it took almost 4 hours to install that shit into the PS3.
That's ridiculous.
Oh.
You must not have very good internet.
not really.
No,
The Puerto Rico doesn't have the best.
Yeah.
From,
Either that or your download speed sucks.
But even then,
well,
Okay, who's playing Shovel Knight?
me.
I thought so.
Double A, say what you're going to say, Double A.
No, we're saying 4 hours. From my experiences, that's kind of like on the lighter side when it came to those installs.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I was surprised the day I got Rayman Origins for my PS3, put the disc in, and it was just there. I could play the game right then and there.
That was a
My
rare.
jaw fell to the floor.
That was like finding a rare Pokemon. That's like going to Safari Zone back in the day and finding a Tauros. Like the first step, you're like, oh, Tauros, goddamn, where'd that come from?
Actually, something that I've been thinking. Ubisoft said that Rayman Legends Definitive Edition was the start of many great things for the Switch from their side. Why
They always
Wait,
say that.
Look, Contrarian, I know you like saying evocative things in order to elicit a response, but let's keep it real. Everything Ubisoft says, you just got to be like, oh, really?
No,
Okay.
you guys didn't let me finish. I was like, so you're going to say that, but you're going to start with practically a port of an old game. Like Ubisoft, if you want to sound convincing, you should have done a new game and said that's the start of many good things. Like, why the hell a port?
To be fair, most of the games that people are really excited about on the Switch are ports. Breath of the Wild is a port. Mario Kart 8 is a port.
Skyrim,
Skyrim is a port. I mean, Street Fighter 2, a port. I mean,
no, that is like the update that never came to the SNES. Like it's
the ultimate Street Fighter 2 update.
It's like
for $39.99.
but I never played Street Fighter 2, so that's a good opportunity for me.
Yeah, now you can jump on board with everything. It has 19 characters, which is a step up because back in the day it was only 8 when you first got Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
It is a
Well, when I play Marvel Super Heroes on the PlayStation, there wasn't that much characters anyway, and it was a game from Capcom, so yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
you think that was low, people? Wait until Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom. Then you gotta wait for the definitive version of that game.
Okay. Now you've been an ass.
Mr. Refas, but you gotta admit, it is a step up from Street Fighter V legendary 12 character roster he had at the beginning.
That is even sad.
That is a bridge too far, my friend. That is you're going a little too rough into.
No, Street Fighter V deserves all my hatred. I mean, that game. That game makes me sick just thinking about it. Like
Here's the thing: Street Fighter V was rushed. Capcom knew it was rushed. Sony knew they were rushing it.
Rush is an understatement. It looked like a game that was like programming 2 weeks
Beta.
and just put it in there.
Well, I mean, let's keep it real. Each iteration of Street Fighter, not counting the updates for Street Fighter 2, but the jump from Street Fighter 2 to Street Fighter Alpha, from Street Fighter Alpha to Street Fighter 3, from Street Fighter 3 to Street Fighter 4, you're talking like 3, 4, 5, 6 years, right? It takes years. So the year before at E3, when Sony was like, Street Fighter 5 exclusive to Sony PlayStation 4, and it's coming out next year, and then literally in February they were like, we're dropping it 2016. I'm like, there's no way this shit's gonna be ready. And I was right because it takes 4 to 5 to 6 years for a Street Fighter game to come out, and you can't do it in a year.
Remember the beginning weeks for Street Fighter V? You had barely any single player modes. The online was laggy, low, and
I mean,
slow.
there was no real single player mode. There was no arcade mode. All you had was versus and like single matches, but you didn't have a story mode. And no arcade mode. So
that game was garbage. It still is kind of garbage. Like, I don't play it anymore.
It was one of those. It was one of those games like I said yesterday at the BS Buster. It was one of those games from a franchise that is so bad you want to forget it existed. Like Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts and Bomberman X Zero.
Or how like Sonic fans refuse to admit that Sonic 06 actually exists
because it doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. It doesn't. Street Fighter 5 doesn't exist. What happened? There is no Street Fighter 5. There's Street Fighter 1. Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, Street Fighter Alpha 1 and 2, Street Fighter versus Marvel. I mean, Street Fighter versus X-Men, Marvel versus Capcom, Ruined Earth.
Don't forget Marvel versus Street Fighter.
You forgot Street Fighter 4 and Street Fighter Cross Tekken.
Well, I was gonna get the Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter, no, they don't like Street Fighter Cross Tekken, and I don't blame them because it's not a very good game. Like, it's not a good Street Fighter game. It's not a good Tekken game. It just sucks all around.
No.
Well, I actually never played that game. Actually, it came at a time, like I told you, that I wasn't into gaming. Like, so I missed a lot of stuff, last gen stuff. So
you're not missing anything by not playing it. It's not a good game.
To me, from what I've seen in this game, all he did was take the Street Fighter engine, put Tekken characters in it, and that's it. Like, nothing new.
It's not even that. It's just not good. I mean, it's just not like it feels very generic, you know. And the thing about Street Fighter is that Street Fighter, when it's good, is very, very good. Street Fighter when it's at its best is very simple, very good. And when they mess that up, it just
when you play let me say something about Street Fighter. It's like when you play Blaze Blue or when you play Guilty Gear, it's like, well, shoot, this is what Street Fighter should have ultimately ended up as, but turned out
actually, for me, Street Fighter, at least for me, at its best was when Third Strike, Street Fighter 3, Third Strike, and at his worst, Street Fighter 5.
Well, I gotta change that. I would say the best Street Fighter game is still going to be 2, just because 2 is easy to get into. Anyone can play it, but it has enough depth that like people who are really highly technical can get into it.
But Third Strike is the most technical one.
Yes, Third Strike is too technical for the average gamer, and that's why like Third Strike really isn't at the top of the heap. And I would have to say at the bottom of the heap, obviously, it's that piece of shit Street Fighter 5.
Yo, that is without contention, and that is like an understatement. When Street Fighter 1 was a huge piece of shit, but it's still
bad.
But it's still better than 5.
What?
The Street Fighter 1 was better than 5.
Yeah, but I mean that's not hard. Like the very first fighting game, Karateka, is better than Street Fighter 5. And Karateka is terrible. I mean, it's awful. It's one of the worst fighting games ever. But it's the first one. It had combos and special attacks, so it's the first fighting game.
What about Pit Fighter?
Karateka came first. Karateka was on the.
Yeah, I know it came first. I know it came first, but you said it was very, very bad. What about Pit Fighter?
Pit Fighter is bad too, but
like elbow.
Karateka came first. So
I'm just going to say something. The Street Fighter game movie adaptation game is better than Street Fighter 5.
Yeah, because the movie adaptation has Raul Julia as M. Bison, and like he's literally the best person to ever play M. Bison.
I think something about
Yep.
it's on the game based on the movie.
Like even when I play as M. Bison, like in my head, I'm
talking
like,
about
it's raw to
I'm talking about the SNES adaptation game that was
Tie-in.
that was based on the movie.
I know what you're talking about, and I still say that is still better because here's the thing: that was just shitty palette swaps from the movie. Okay, fair enough. But here's the thing: you still had a solid game underneath those shitty palette swaps. But here's the thing: Street Fighter V is just a letdown in all ways. It
Actually,
was a letdown story-wise. It was a letdown. I mean, technically, it was a proficient game, but like with everything else that failed, it's like someone saying you wrote a bad report in school, you didn't use it, you had to write a research paper, you didn't do your research, you like your actual topic was garbage, but you didn't have a misspelled word. That's when people say Street Fighter V, the fighting's solid, that doesn't mean anything if everything else sucks.
well, I actually have people at my school say, well, if you buy the season pass, the game is actually good.
Oh,
No.
that's the point. I mean, why should you buy a season pass to make a game good?
No.
I was like, what? But you're saying that I had to buy a $60 game and then waste even more money so it can be decent. That the game sucks either way.
No.
Eh?
That's like someone saying, "Hey, man, this game is really good, but you'll have to do all types of weird shit in order to get it to work." That's not cool.
That's what I said. How the hell can a game? You say a game can be good when you had to pay $60 and then you had to pay even more money so it can actually be decent.
Yeah, that's gaming now. That's modern gaming.
And that's why I recently became a Nintendo fanboy once again. I said fanboy because I'm done with the other consoles. I'm done.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not even like everyone says you're a Nintendo fan because you want why should you be given the negative connotation of being a fanboy because you want quality with your games? Like, because gaming is an expensive hobby. It's not cheap.
I want to.
People brag about how there's so many games on the Xbox One and PS4. It's probably only about one or two that I actually want to play. So it's like, because everything else is just screwing you over with season passes.
And here's the worst thing.
I mean, I know people are going to say, well, Zelda has a season. No, there's still at least 100, 150, hundreds of hours of gameplay.
Yeah, but I mean, here's the thing, okay? Like 70 to 90% of the libraries on those two consoles I can get on PC. So if you have a gaming PC, you really have no reason to own these consoles. So, like, exclusive-wise, there's no reason to own these consoles.
Well, I have to disagree with you because I want to be a Nintendo fanboy, but when games like Persona 5 and Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth that are really good games come for the other system, like there are some decent games coming out for the PS4. So I can say
well, I said 70 to 80%. Like that's a decent spread. Like 70 to 80% of the library of those games are also on PC, which for me, or if you're someone who owns a gaming PC, there's no reason to own those consoles. Now, for you, those are games that are good for you. I played Digimon Cyber Sleuth. I felt it was meh, but some people really like that game. So, I mean, that's you. Persona is obviously a great game. The only problem, it's on the PS3 as well. So, I mean, is that really...
The PS3 is a very cheap console today, so...
Actually, I want to say a game where I know Mr. Refas is going to disagree. Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, you can take that game and shove it up every asshole you can find. Sorry, I hate that game. I hate that game with the intensity of 1,000 burning suns going supernova at the same time.
But why so much hate on that game?
Because they had the audacity to call it a Final Fantasy game, and it's not.
Which game?
Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is not a Final Fantasy game. It has Final Fantasy monikers. When you defeat enemies, your shitty party members who you have no real control over, one of them goes da na 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 na. You'll occasionally I think in one of the cars, instead of fuzzy balls on the or fuzzy dice on the rearview mirror, you'll have a Moogle. And I mean, that's cute, but that is not a Final Fantasy game. And I'm offended that they call it that. It's kind of like, basically, Final Fantasy 15 to me is kind of like how back in the day we had Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. Like Square had the balls to call that shit a Final Fantasy game, and it's perfectly fine, but it's not a Final Fantasy game. And I will not be offended with. I will not be condescended to.
Look, Mr. Ref. I took the liberty of like having like searching. I have my whole entire PS4 library here in my hand, so I can tell you how many games I own. So you can see that the PlayStation has some games.
So
that
many.
are good.
Look,
Ratchet
man,
and Clank.
everyone has their personal opinion. Like you feel that it has games worth owning. I'm not disagreeing
Dude,
with you.
I
What
was
I'm
I was
saying,
going to make a joke actually.
I'm not
Because
disagreeing with you. There are some games worth playing. The problem is that a lot of the games are cross-gen, and a lot of them are on PC. And I have a gaming PC, so it's like,
I was going to make a joke that I barely have PS4 games. Like
you're like, I have 3 games, but they're really good.
I only have
Um,
5 games, and one of them I hate, the Ratchet and Clank remake.
yeah, that I heard that wasn't very good.
But that's how little like the PS4 library has called to me. I was like, to be honest, I am mostly like, if you see my room, I have a ton of like I have a ton of Wii games, a ton of 3DS games, a ton of like Wii U games, but I don't have that many PS3 and PS4 games.
See, that's the weird thing. It's like I have I have a decent amount of physical PS3 games, but I have a ton of downloadable PS3 games. Like I have like a ton of them, and good ones too, like Nino Kuni.
Oh, Nino
Um,
Kuni is amazing. I have it.
yeah, I'm and like I was like, oh, man, when Nino Kuni 2 comes out, I'm getting that for PS4. I'm gonna get a PS4. Then it turns out the Namco band is like, oh, and it's coming to PC. I'm like, why
They need they need to stop that actually. Every time something comes that can actually get you excited for a PS4, oh no, it's for PC too.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because like hardcore JRPGs have been going down in sales on on Sony hardware. So it's like, and people on PC have been saying they want these games for years, and so it's worth Namco Bandai and Square Enix's and even Dragon Square Enix's and Koei Tecmo. It's worth their time to like make them put them on PC. So I mean, fuck it.
Oh, I know. Actually, I really do want a gaming PC. To be honest, just I lack the funds, like
Fair
the
enough.
money to have a decent gaming PC because I always wanted because the mods like I see some really interesting mods and games I want to play. And it's really for me, Steam is actually a really convenient service.
Well, um,
But sadly, PC gaming ain't cheap.
Hey, here's what I'll say about PC gaming. The initial buy-in is high, but what you get, the initial buy-in is high, but once you get past the initial buy-in, it pays for itself in the long run. Because like with just Steam alone, because you can take $20 and get tons of games on Steam and bundle stars and humble bundle. It's like you'll never not have games to play on PC.
Well, I may give because how many of you guys are Nintendo PC mostly? I think Kanoshi is. They are just Nintendo only on Nintendo and PC. What games do you miss if you own only a Switch and a PC?
Uh,
These
That's a good question.
You know what? I don't know. Nothing at this point. Like,
Well, there
I
is
think.
one game. Well, wait. Can you repeat your question?
Well,
What
what
games do you miss if you're only PC and Nintendo?
Nintendo?
Well, I am intrigued by Final Fantasy 15,
Yeah,
but
but that's coming to PC too. So,
officially or eventually.
man, let me put it this way. This game has to sell 10 million in order to break even. It's nowhere near that.
It failed at best.
So they're going to have to put it on PC at some point. And here's the thing: once it comes to PC, they will have fixed a lot of the issues. They might even do an Ultimate Edition that has all of the content for like $50. All the little shit they're charging people for now. So
Actually, can you enlighten me on the season pass of Final Fantasy 15? Like, what content does it offer? Because I don't know shit.
I don't know the exact details because I went to my friend's house to play this game. I didn't play it like I don't own it myself. But here's what I do know: the game. The game basically, like, you have content that they added, like kind of like Splatoon style, with like after the fact, and then you have content that is locked behind the season pass. And the season pass, I think, is like $20 or $30. Let me look it up. Final Fantasy 15 season pass price. Final Fantasy 15 season pass price. Let me look
Actually,
it up. I'm gonna Google this shit.
now that we're talking like Square, is Final Fantasy VII Remake Vaporware by now?
Okay, the season pass for Final Fantasy 15 is Final Fantasy 7 vaporware? Well, there's no evidence that they haven't been making it. So
Yeah, because the Square has been keeping way too silent about that game.
Well,
okay, the season pass is $25.
Tabarnak, 25.
Yeah, and you get 3 episodes and a multiplayer expansion because when I think Final Fantasy, I think multiplayer.
But episodes, that sounds interesting.
Yeah. You get a holiday pack, you get a booster pack, you get 3 episodes: episode Gladiolus, episode Ignis. I guess these episodes focus around some of the side characters, I guess. But yeah, I mean it's okay. And plus, but here's the problem. On top of that, they also have all this other microtransaction stuff, like the Masamune weapon is 50 cents. I mean, I'm sorry, fuck this game. I'm sorry, no.
And art style wise, what do you think of Final Fantasy 15?
Well, it's fine.
It's better than Final Fantasy 13, but I mean,
I don't see the difference personally.
You could go to the bathroom and wipe your butt, and what was on that piece of toilet paper would be better art-wise than Final Fantasy 13. That's not a high. That's like someone saying, "Let's play jump over this bar," but it's a stick and they put it on the ground. Jump over it. Like, that's not a high bar to go over. I mean, for me, the art style for Final Fantasy has been going downhill since.
And what did you think is the problem?
9. Well, it's too like they try. Like, here's the thing: the character models are too damn realistic. Like, they're stylized, but they're trying to go too realistic. But you have all this fantastical shit, right? And it's really hard for fantastical shit to look good when you're trying to go realistic with all this other stuff. Like, the only people I've seen who could pull it off is the Xenoblade, is Monolith Soft with Xenoblade and Xenoblade Chronicles, because basically you're in an alien world and you're expecting it to be like the stuff looks so fantastic that it's science fiction-y, whereas the stuff in Final Fantasy, it's like they have a car that looks like it exists here or maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, but then you look to the side and you see this ugly ass chocobo.
Oh man!
Actually, the chocobos are cute.
The ones back in the day, yeah, but the ones in Final Fantasy 15 are ugh.
Oh yeah, it's like,
don't insult my favorite bird.
look, man, they're my favorite too. I'm just saying that in Final Fantasy 15 they look like ass.
Well, they look too realistic on that game. They look like actual ostriches.
They look, ugh, no, no, and that's the thing. They tried to go too realistic with the art style. Like it's Final Fantasy. It's in the name, fantasy, which means you should be going with a more like stylized art style and stop trying to make it look so realistic. Not, but the thing is that some of the textures in 15 are weird because it's like a character will look realistic and then another character will look like ass. So it's like what's going on here?
At least one thing 15 did right was the story. It's a step up from 13.
Okay, they took a bar, they put it on the ground and said jump over this. Like not hard to do because the story in 13 and 13.2 and 13.3 is nonsensical at best.
It's a mess, though. The 13 stories, it was so convoluted. Like, you can play it twice and still don't understand what the fuck is going on.
No one knows what's going on in that game. It's
To be honest, can you summarize Final Fantasy 13 story? Like, I don't even know what the hell the Fal'Cie wanted. I never understood why Orphan wanted to die. I never understood any of that shit.
It makes like and here's the sad thing, right? You could understand the story of other Final Fantasy games. Like if you ask me what's the story of Final Fantasy VI, an evil empire has figured out how to drain the magical essence of basically these godlike creatures that are the essence of whatever that magic is, and they're going to use that to take over the world. But unknowingly, one of their head soldiers, who happens to be a magic-infused warrior, has gone crazy due to the magical treatments and decides to take over the world by becoming the god of magic.
That sounds like Final Fantasy VII, man. It's as if
no, Final Fantasy VII story is a little bit different. Final Fantasy VII story is a group of disparate characters come together to save the world from a long-haired freak who wants to destroy the world for no really good reason because
he's a psycho.
He's a clone. He's cloned from an alien. Oh, and spoilers. The main character is also one of the clones from this alien, but he's not. He's only 1/10 as powerful as apparently the main villain. Allegedly,
and yet like, he wins.
Yeah, seven has a shit storyline. I'm sorry, it's not very good.
Well, to be honest, seven is just mad to me. I like it, but it's not my favorite. But it's not my least favorite Final Fantasy. It's just there.
Yeah, that's about it. I mean, I'm gonna keep it real. The best story Final Fantasy wise, I have to say is still 6 in my opinion, just because 6 just really had such memorable characters in my opinion.
I love 9 story too.
I know you like 9, but I'm just saying for me 6 just had a very memorable storyline. But here's the thing: no matter what storyline had the best Final Fantasy storyline's the best. None of them can come close to the story of Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger is still head and shoulders above all of them. It's the best, in my opinion.
Actually, I never played Chrono Cross. Actually, I wanted to try it.
You can. You're not really missing anything, but go for it.
Yeah, because I did play Chrono Trigger back when I was in high school, and it was a really good game. But I never played Chrono Cross.
Actually, I'd like to be educated on this. Apparently, many old school gamers, they love Chrono Trigger. Can you explain to me what's good about the game? Because
okay. The game is a JRPG with a twist. Its battle system is unique in that while it is turn-based and time-based, the faster characters attack more often, the slower characters less often. What changes it up is that the characters can do something called dual and triple text. which like dual techs are basically techniques where they can combine their abilities. So Chrono is the sword master of the game, alongside Frog, and Chrono can use an attack called Whirl. Called Spin, where he basically spins his sword around, and it can affect areas in an area. Well, you have another character in your group whose magic power is fire. Like she has a flamethrower. She can flamethrower Chrono while he does his spin attack, creating a fire spin, which does fire-based damage to a group of enemies. This is important because enemies have elemental weaknesses. Then you get to triple techs in the game. The battle system is very unique. While there are battles in the game, it's not your traditional RPG where you don't see the enemies and you just pop up. You actually can see them and avoid them. Something that a lot of games are using now in gaming. Chrono Trigger doesn't have a huge amount of grinding. Like you can beat Chrono Trigger in like under 5 hours if you know what you're doing. And story-wise, it has a very epic story. The characters have a lot of character. It has great music. Like literally, Chrono Trigger had the best of the industry at the time, JRPG-wise, come together to make what is one of the best 16-bit, actually arguably one of the best RPGs period ever created. And that's why old school fans love it, because it like literally it's like if someone said Yuji Naka, Shigeru Miyamoto, and Tezuka Takashi came together and basically made a platformer. You'd be like, shit, that must be the best platformer ever, because these are the people who basically have created some of the best platforming games ever.
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's why people love Chrono Trigger.
Who was the creator of Chrono Trigger?
Well, I mean, I don't remember their exact names, but the people in charge of Dragon Quest and the people in charge of like Final Fantasy came together, along with the people who did the music for both Dragon Quest and Final Fantasy, came together to make one of the best games ever. Like the people who made those games went on to become Monolith Soft and Mistwalker.
Oh,
like,
that is
they're the best. They're the best.
That explains why it's so good, because Monolith stuff have made some really, really good RPGs.
So
I'm
basically,
looking forward to Xenoblade Chronicles 2, man.
Yeah, you had the best people in the industry make arguably one of the best RPGs ever. So it's like, I mean, you know, it would be like I said earlier, if you had the best chefs in the world make a dish, that would have to be the best fucking dish ever. And in this case, it's one of the best games ever. And the sad thing is that they made a sequel that is just garbage compared to the original. And I mean, haven't you noticed that the quality of Final Fantasy games kind of went down when Hironobu Sakaguchi left? Because the guy in charge of it's gone, and the people they have are unworthy successors.
Well, that explains why Nintendo's games are still good, because the old staff is still around. Well, like 95% of them.
Actually, yeah, Metal has a point. Actually,
Well,
but actually, Nintendo, the franchises have been passed. They have been passing the torch, but most of the successors get taught well by the predecessors.
yeah, the thing about Nintendo is that while Shigeru Miyamoto is still there, and Tezuki Takashi, and like all these other people still there, they like 10, 15 years ago, they started training new people, younger people to take their place. So, I mean, like, even though like Mario 3D World wasn't made by Shigeru Miyamoto, you didn't notice. You're not like, man, this doesn't feel like a Mario game. Whereas there's a lot of Final Fantasy games.
The DNA there, Shigeru Miyamoto's DNA is in Mario. Like it sticks now. Like it can't disappear now. Like its influence is deep. So it will never go away, even if Miyamoto retires eventually.
Whereas you look at Final Fantasy or Sonic the Hedgehog or Street Fighter, and it's like you notice changes in quality as time has gone on, because the original people left and no one was there to pick up the slack. So,
well, Tetsuya Nomura hasn't done a bad job. I mean, 10, 10,
he didn't
12.
He didn't do 10. 10 was done by that was like Hironobu Sakaguchi's last game. 12 was done by the guy who did Final Fantasy Tactics. So no, Nomura is that piece of shit that did 13 and 13.2 and 13.3. So no, he hasn't done a good job. Like I'm surprised Nomura is still working there, because after 13 and 13.2 and 13.3, they should have taken him to the tallest building of Square Enix and thrown him off out the top window.
So,
Get the fuck out of here.
supposedly 13, even to 13 was bad. 13 still sells so well.
Not really. They lost money on the reason they made 13.2 and 13.3 was because they lost money on the original 13, and 13.2 and 13.3 still did not sell to expectations. They still did not really make a lot of money on those games. So
I'm doing my research before I talk, and look, I found all the Final Fantasy Tetsuya Nomura has worked with. Final Fantasy 8.
he may have worked with it. I know he was the art director for a lot of them, but he
7.
yeah, he was an art director. That's about it. He wasn't in charge of that
13
shit.
and 13, the 13 trilogy.
Yeah, that was his baby. That was the one that he really kind of shepherded and ushered, and that's arguably one of the worst Final Fantasies ever, aside from 10-2.
Actually, 10-2 is like Banjo Kazooie nuts and bolts. It just take its predecessor and just shit all over what made that predecessor good.
No, I think 10-2 is, in my opinion, 10-2 is essentially 10-2 is essentially, for all intents and purposes, it is essentially that was Hironobu Sakaguchi's FU to Square Enix. He's like as he like basically that was his like, oh, you guys are gonna fire me because Final Fantasy: The Spirits Within bombed. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna leave. I'll take my shit and put it in this box and give me my papers. But before I do, let me go to the bathroom. And he went to the bathroom. He opened that little water tank and stood up there and took a shit in it and then closed it and walked out the door. And that shit was Final Fantasy X-2. That was his revenge against
Well, to be honest, I have to disagree with Mr. Redfuss on 13. I have to disagree on Mr. Redfuss on 13 being the worst Final Fantasy, because I think 8 is a much larger piece of shit than 13.
Here's the thing. Like, okay, 7 gave us an emo main character, and it worked for them. So they said, we can go even more emo. So they gave us Squall Leonhardt, who's like emo 2 times. He's 2 times Square emo, and he doesn't have this massive sword that he's, except I'll give him this much. He doesn't have this massive sword that he's
He has a gun sword.
He has a gun sword, which is even more over the top and impractical. But
how does it even work anyway? How can you?
It doesn't work. A gun sword doesn't work, but it looks cool. And at the end of the day, that's like, here's the thing: like, every RPG has impractical weapons.
Isn't Tetsuya Nomura kind of in love with gun swords? Because Final Fantasy 13 Lighting had a gun sword too.
Yeah, well, like I said, Nomura is his character design is ass. I'm sorry. Like he's gone too far. Like,
well, actually, to be honest, Lighting is like the combination of Cloud and Leon and a female.
But here's the thing. I remember the character of Cloud. It was barely there, but I remember it. I remember the character of Squall. I remember the character of Zidane. I remember the character of Yuna and that piece of shit Titus. I remember the character.
Laughs, man.
I hate Titus, but I remember his character. He was annoying, but I remember him. But I don't remember. Like, if someone asked me describe Lightning, I'm like, she was a character. She used a sword.
Well, but actually, Lighting has been promoted more than any other Final Fantasy.
I know. Well, except for Cloud Strife.
Well, because she, like, after the Cloud costume in the Final Fantasy Explorer, the second thing they announced was the Lighting costume. Lighting got in this Gaia, the CD arcade game on Japan. Lighting was advertised more in that game than any other character.
And you know what the weird thing is? is that like no one fucking knows.
No one fucking knows what.
No one knows what. Like no one knows. Oh God, no one knows. The weirdest thing about Final Fantasy 13 is that if you go to Japan, like even though Square Enix is always like people in Japan love lightning, they don't love lightning. They don't even like most Japanese gamers don't even like lightning. They don't. They don't. Like Square Enix is pushing the shit out of lightning, and no one likes her. I mean, and with Cloud, I could understand, but lightning, no one fucking likes lightning. No one.
Well,
No one's like, oh my God, lightning.
Not for the reason Square want to anyway.
Well, I mean, like literally, she's like, okay. In order for a character to be memorable, they have to have something about them that makes them, iconic. Like Mario's iconic because he's this dumpy-looking Italian plumber who can kick ass. Link is iconic because despite all of his changes, he's basically this young dude who shouldn't kick ass, but he does through some mysterious alchemy.
He's fearless.
Donkey Kong. I mean, like Nintendo has iconic characters. Mega Man is iconic. Sonic is iconic.
What is lighting? What is lighting personality?
That's the thing. She has no personality. She's literally like if you ask me to describe, the only thing I can tell you is that she has blonde hair and she has
pink hair. She has pink hair.
Well, it looks
Pink
blonde,
hair, yeah.
But
no pink.
It looks blonde to me.
Are you sure? Let me see.
She looks blonde to me. But my point is
no, it's pink. Like it's clearly pink. Even if you say blonde, I see pink.
The shit looked blonde to me. I'm colorblind. Sue me. But anyway, like she
actually look. I found something interesting here. There was a poll in Japan for Final Fantasy characters, and lighting didn't even made it into the top 10.
I know because no one fucking one likes lightning.
Vivi from Final Fantasy IX ranked really high.
Well, they like Vivi in Japan.
Like
number one was probably Cloud Strife.
No,
Cloud one.
Strife, and then maybe you had like Vivi, maybe Auron, maybe Yuna.
Yuna was really high. She was number 3.
I mean, you maybe see some Final Fantasy VI characters, maybe Terra or Locke, maybe
Tifa. The top 10. I think Tifa was in the top 10.
Yeah, but we know why. Sephiroth. Yeah, like I mean, like here's the thing: Lightning is not. She's not one of the most popular characters, and I don't know why Square Enix keeps on trying to make people. You're gonna like Lightning. No one fucking likes this bitch.
Actually, no Final Fantasy 13 character was even on made it.
Good, because no one likes him. No one likes him.
And just a side note. Look, you guys said that Square Enix have been really, really, really trying to push the Final Fantasy 13 universe, correct?
Yeah.
Well, do you know that the original that Final Fantasy 15 was supposed to be a game called Final Fantasy Versus 13?
13. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it was actually before then. It wasn't 13. It was originally supposed to be just Final Fantasy Versus, and it was supposed to come out on the PS2. It was supposed to be the next game in the series after 12, and they were going to call it Final Fantasy Versus. And it was supposed to come out for the PS2. It broke its budget. It was supposed to come out for the PS3. It broke its budget. It was supposed to come out for the PS4. It broke its budget again. This game has been in limbo for years.
Like the only reason they called it 15 was to make it stand out, quote unquote.
No, I think it was because it was in development hell so much time, and Final Fantasy was in need of a sequel. Like 13 was just released. It had a long time since it was released, and there were like no confirmation of another Final Fantasy. So I think they just took that game and made it into a sequel because, well, it wasn't a long development hell. I mean, it was canceled. It was canceled twice, and then
Well, it
brought
wasn't
back to
canceled.
life.
Like every time they brought it out, it just didn't. It didn't. It like it. Like I think what they had was feature creep, which is a dangerous thing. It's where basically you wait. A game is in development for so long that technology changes so much that they can't put it out as the way it is. And I mean, you forget that was a game that was supposed to be made, and then it got pushed back again. Then it got pushed back
Yeah,
again.
but because remember the controversy when they say Final Fantasy 13 versus 13 was canceled. That then they brought it back from the dead just so they announced they're going to cancel it once again. Then they resurrected the project once again.
Like it only became Final Fantasy 15 because of the circumstances, not because it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
If everything had went exactly as they should have, the real Final Fantasy 15 would have been that game, right?
Yeah, yeah. Actually, Metal has a point. Actually, I'll be honest. I kind of feel sorry for Tetsuya Nomura. Like he's trying hard to like create his own Final Fantasy legacy, but
Fuck his legacy. Sorry. Look, let me put it this way. He
All
didn't
he
create
does-
Final Fantasy.
all he
Hironobu
does-
Sakaguchi did.
All he
Tetsuya
does
Nomura
is
was
live
just
in
a
the
fucking
shadow
nerd.
of Sakaguchi, basically.
Yeah, he basically like he's someone who essentially he's someone who the parents got divorced and the dad had to go live separately from the kid, and some new asshole, I'm your new daddy. No, you're not. Go make your own fucking kid, you piece of shit. Go make something else. Don't call it Final Fantasy. Make something. Look, Tetsuya Nomura has Kingdom Hearts. I mean, that's in development hell too, but
Oh man, Kingdom Hearts.
that piece of shit franchise.
I actually like Kingdom Hearts. Actually,
Yeah. There's a lot of people in this community that love Kingdom Hearts. I hate it, but a lot of people love it, so
but
I
why?
can't get mad about it.
Why do you hate it?
The story is convoluted. Square Enix got the rights to Disney IPs, and instead of giving us a JRPG that we could be proud of, they gave us something that makes no goddamn sense unless you have the wiki, which has 20, 30 pages of back material. And
Oh no,
it's just not very good.
believe me,
Sorry, it's just not a good
Mr.
game.
Red Fox is right. Kingdom Hearts has one of the most convoluted, nonsensical storyline of all time. I can say that right now. It took me like when I first played the game, I didn't know what the fuck was going on with the story, and all the mention of light, darkness, light, darkness, light, darkness.
We can barely hear you, Joel. You might have to pop in and then come back.
Gotcha.
Oh no, we can hear you. Sorry.
Oh, hey, we can hear you actually.
Yeah.
Okay, I was a bit worried.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that Kingdom Hearts is terrible. I'm just saying that, like, okay, let me put it this way. Joel can probably vouch for this because I think we're around the same age. But when we were kids, we had the Disney Afternoon that had characters like Scrooge McDuck and DuckTales and
Darkwing Duck, Goof Troop,
Goof Troop, Tails,
Aladdin.
Aladdin. Wouldn't it have been awesome if they had made a JRPG with Mickey Mouse as the main character, where you went around to all those different worlds, recruiting characters in your party, having like turn-based battles and shit, like a Chrono Trigger?
Kingdom Hearts, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
I ruined the expectation of RPGs with Disney.
A kind of Chrono Trigger-esque adventure, except instead of those stupid-ass weird JRPG tropes that they have in Kingdom Hearts, you actually had Disney characters. That would have been awesome.
Actually, to be honest, when Kingdom Hearts was first announced, that was my expectation. Like, oh, I can use Goofy, Tarzan, Aladdin, awesome, and we just ended using a really cliche
character.
Yeah, I was about to say
a really cliche Ash Ketchum knockoff protagonist.
But he's not even, at least Ash Ketchum, for being as goofy and dumb as he was when he first was created.
He has more personality than Sora.
Yeah, Ash just, I mean, even though he was an idiot, like the world around him made sense. The world in Kingdom Hearts makes no
Zero
sense.
sense.
It makes no sense.
I always said
I take your word for it. I never played Kingdom Hearts.
You're not missing.
I played 1 and 2.
I played all of them. I played 1, 2,
What?
Birth by Sleep, Dream Drop Distance, and
I stopped at
Cold.
Recoded.
Yeah, I played 1 and 2, and the one on the Game Boy Advance, and the one on the DS. I tried. I really tried. I tried with Kingdom Hearts. But
My
every time I
favorite
played it, I was just like, what is this shit? What
My
is this?
favorite, I think my favorite one is 2, and Dream Drop Distance, like a close second. But I think, I just like the gameplay of the series, but the story wise, it's horrible, really horrible.
Trust me when I say this. You're better off not knowing how the Hades some of these storylines go, because when you get beyond 2 and Birth by Sleep, I mean no, Dream, yeah, the the GBA card, I mean the GBA card game of sorts, then it gets real convoluted.
Oh no, believe me, you don't have to say it. When you like, you're going to get sick of these 3 words in this franchise:
So
darkness, light, and heart.
That
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
very typical and generic to me.
And heartless. Like,
The
by the end of the
heart.
game, you're just like, I'm
and by the way,
tired.
Red Fox, can I say something?
Go
Final
ahead.
Fantasy 13 was not just a train wreck. It was a modeling agency for one character, and a big FU to everything that was supposed to be the real Final Fantasy beyond 10.
Well, it's not even like that's the thing. Like after 10, Final Fantasy 10 is the Final Fantasy 10 and 12 to an extent are the last Final Fantasy games. 13's not a Final Fantasy game.
I consider 10 the final one, because 12, it threw me off because it felt felt like an MMO RPG.
Yeah, it did feel like an RPG, like an MMO RPG than a straight up RPG. But here's the thing. It was set in a world where Final Fantasy existed because it was made by the guy who did Final Fantasy Tactics and Advance 2 and Advance. Like this dude knew Final Fantasy from some type of angle. But Final Fantasy 12, Final Fantasy 13, and the whole trilogy doesn't feel like an RPG at all.
As I said, I felt like it was a train wreck and a fashion show.
And,
So, like I said, they need to fire Tetsuya Nomura. I said this before when 13 came out. I was like, look, just fire this asshole.
But you gotta
And the protagonist is just a female Cloud, period.
Basically,
a female.
Actually, I consider Lightning a female version of Titus.
No, she's not that bad. She's not as bad as Titus, but she is pretty. Here's the thing. Titus has a personality. It's annoying, but it's a personality.
Oh yeah,
she has if you ask me to describe, what's Lightning's personality? I'm like, I don't know. I don't think she has a personality. I know she says stuff, but it's inconsequential at best. Whereas in people before you say, you're just saying that she's a female. No, because one of my favorite characters in all the Final Fantasy is a female. That's Terra.
It's from Final Fantasy VI.
That's Terra from Final Fantasy VI. She's the main character. She's the main character of the entire damn game, and she's badass as hell. And she has a personality. And initially, she's an amnesiac, but then she begins to enjoy life. And then she begins to hate the Empire after she finds out what they did to her and her parents. And then she becomes like a hero. By the end of the game, she is a badass hero who you would not want to mess with. All the characters have a character arc, and I mean, you can literally see where the writing and scenario writing for Final Fantasy went down the shitter after Hironobu Sakaguchi and his team left.
What do you guys think about the Fal'Cie? And the Lafide?
And what?
Fal'Cie and Lafide.
Which game was that?
13.
Oh god.
Oh.
It's Final Fantasy 13. I mean, it's.
Well, you gotta
understand Final Fantasy 10 better than this.
Final Fantasy 10 makes sense. Final Fantasy 10, even though the story, Final Fantasy 10 could have been saved if they hadn't just gotten rid of Titus completely. and Yuna was the main character. And I don't know why they were like, we can't have Yuna as the main character because they had a
Hold it.
female
I
main
actually
character
can
in
tell you
6.
why. I can tell you why. Because these guys are scared of female leads.
Well, that's the thing, because they had a female lead in Final Fantasy VI.
But 10 was a really solid game. I love 10. Like
10 is a mixed game for me with that. I mean, the story, it had only one problem, which is Titus. The battle system is mixed because, let's just say, you have to get everybody involved in order to move a space and do the most convoluted beeping growth system ever invented.
Yeah, I mean they fixed that in the Final Fantasy X International Edition, like the
sphere grid.
Yeah, they fixed the sphere grid.
I have better understanding with the growth system of Final Fantasy 9 and 8 and 7 than 10.
I think 9 was simplistic. Like, mostly you gain abilities through weapons and your stat will just boost by leveling up. Actually, 9 was simplistic.
Yeah.
8 had that god awful mana extract system.
I mean, here's the thing: the mana extraction
more than 10.
Yeah, the mana extraction, if you knew what you were doing, you could basically break the game, because you could basically grind mana extraction early on in the game and break it.
That's why I hated it. Actually, I got tornado magic. I farmed through the card game. I forgot how it was called. The card game.
Triple Triad.
Yeah, triple triad, and I equipped the tornado to all my. They were one-shotting bosses.
But I mean, that's
in the first disc.
But that's the point. That's the point of an RPG. The point of an RPG is to use the inherent systems to basically
shatter the game into pieces.
To break the game, yeah. So that you can be an overpowered badass. That's the whole point of an RPG. Like if an entire RPG is you struggling incredibly hard, that's not a very well made, especially JRPGs.
A card-based RPG, have some fun with that, because you're depending on RNGs to save your behind.
Well, that sounds like Bait and Katos. The Bait and Katos back, especially the first one, that was very much like, I mean, you had to really know how to build your decks and stuff like that, and it was tough.
I mean, if you're not a deck builder, you're probably screwed in that game.
Oh well, I had the
guide.
Yeah, I had the guide for that game. So
actually, I'm going to say something. Say what you want about 13, but you got to give 13 credit. The action cutscenes when the city is invaded are kind of badass.
Well,
that's movie filler.
Here's what I'm going to say. You know what would have been more badass? If you were playing through the fight instead of watching a movie of it.
I mean, Final Fantasy 7 had a better cutscene opener with that than 13.
Here's the thing about cutscenes in video games nowadays, especially RPGs. Yeah, it's cool. That looks really cool when you use computer imaging to render something. But you know what would be even cooler? If I was playing as that character doing this shit. And when you're playing a video game, kind of like when you're making a movie, you show, don't tell. If I'm playing a video game, I want to play, not show. Like if you're gonna cheat and tell me how shitty of a developer you are, oh well, we can't actually have you do it. Because don't you hate when you watch a cutscene of your character doing some badass shit, then you get control of your character and then they can't do any of that.
There's something worse than
in Metal Gear. This is what happens, man. Snaik does all this badass stuff, but when you play as him, your movements are so limited.
He's the one-eyed bastard that he looks like. Yeah, I know.
I was going to say, there's something worse than the cutscene. It's when you get the QuickTime events.
Oh yeah. I like QuickTime events. QuickTime events used sparingly are good, but too much.
I take QuickTime events over generic cutscenes anyway, any day.
Are you serious?
Yeah. What?
I'm actually surprised, because cutscenes are supposed to be your breather before you get into more action. QuickTime events usually kick your rear end and hurt you for something if you don't do it right. Example would be Soul Calibur 3.
Oh, okay.
And of course, I think God of War.
Yeah, that's about it. I think, okay, Soul Calibur did pretty well with, it's not that I'm against cutscenes. Like, sometimes cutscenes, like, if you're playing a Star Wars game, and you're, like, especially, like, one of the games where you're in a spaceship, and there's shit going on, and it's not spaceship related, you need a cutscene. Like, if you're going to see Admiral Akbar telling you where to go, you need to destroy that Star Destroyer. It's a trap. You need to have a cutscene for that. But if I'm playing an RPG, if I'm playing an RPG and there's some cool shit going on, like a city's being invaded by dudes in Magitech armor, and like you have to do, like you're seeing your main character slice through these dudes with Magitech armor like it's nothing, like a hot knife through butter, and yet then that's the cutscene, and then you actually have your character and he's fighting one of these things, and it's taken like 5-10 minutes for you to beat these dudes.
I was about to say
he was slicing through like
turns.
I'm like, this is no, I'm not. That's a sign of a lazy developer, because here's the thing. When you see someone doing cutscenes, it's basically a throwback of back in the day when developers, the CDs first started coming in, and instead of actually doing something in engine, they would just fucking do an FMV scene. Because they were lazy. Well, like Night Trap, but Night Trap wasn't the only one, because Final Fantasy VII was guilty of it. It's like, oh, instead of you walking into the city, we're just going to show this FMV you walking into the city. It's like, what the hell?
And you know what? I have to. I'm going to have to reference to you guys for a moment that extra credit is the thing about cutscenes recently. Actually, this week.
I mean, if it's done well, I'm okay with it. But the thing is, like a cutscene is like makeup. Okay, a woman wears enough to where it's like it looks good. But if a woman, or some men wear makeup, wear too much, it looks ridiculous. They look like a clown, and that's how it feels. That's how it feels when someone uses too much computer-generated cutscenes. It's like, dude, no. Especially when a lot of those computer-generated cutscenes, half the time they never look. The real game doesn't look as good. Like the computer-generated cutscenes in Final Fantasy 15 look great. It's like I'm watching an anime. But then you're playing
I was going to say this.
Doesn't look like
what
this.
about in-game engine cutscenes?
Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like it. I don't like it because it feels like they're lying to you. Because a lot of the games are like, this is in-engine. No, it's not.
Which I'm going to get on. Which I'm going to get hate for if somebody's a Pokemon fan in here, that I consider Generation 7 the movie and Smogon generation.
But it's still going on today.
Yes, that's the thing.
And not for the best. Not for the best.
Yeah, the Gen 7 kind of F up something. It kind of felt rushed, in my opinion, to be honest. Like too little new Pokemon. The Alolan form were just reserved for Gen 1 instead of spreading them out between the generations.
I didn't like how they set up the story. Like, I know they were like, we have to change.
As I said, the movie. I call it the movie and Smogon generation.
Well, I know what they said. They were like, okay, we have to change up how Pokemon does. It's too formulaic.
But the problem is that at least in this, some of the stuff they tackled, they did good, like removing the TN. But story-wise, they at least Gen 4 and 5 had like better stories than what Gen 7 came up with.
Well, I'm gonna keep it real and before I go,
I don't play Pokemon games for the story.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, but
I mean, no one does. But I mean, like, here's the thing.
No,
that's
but
what I'm talking about. Like, here's what they could have done, in my opinion, to make Pokemon the newest Pokemon generation, Sun and Moon, better. And I'm just hear me out, guys, and then tell me what you think. Instead of what they tried to do, they could keep the island motif, but they could have your character be because your character's always this fatherless kid almost. You're basically, your father is this legendary Pokemon trainer. You could be a boy or a girl, and you can change your ethnicity, the color of your skin, all that stuff. But instead of you having just one starter, You can choose 3, and you get to go to these little islands to catch them yourself. But here's the cool thing: each island is elementally themed. So like one would be a fire island. So you can pick a fire starter. But here's the cool thing: you could pick a fire starter not just from that generation, but from past generations too. It's whatever the hell you want to catch. So you could have the OG, Gen 1, Gen 2, Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5, Gen 6, or the Gen 7.
In modern Pokemon games, you get to choose a starter from each generation now. Like you begin with that generation starter, and later in the game, someone appears and it's like, "Hey, choose one of those 3 from the past."
Well,
like,
they did that. They started that in X, and I'm okay with that.
they started XY. Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver with.
Yeah, but in order to do that, you had to catch all the ones from the new decks, and then it opened up the old decks. Yeah, that was too much bullshit. Most people wanted to do that.
If anything, that's a gift to the completionists.
Yeah,
actually, Oras did that. That when you cleared the game for a second time, you can choose the Unova starters, the Johto starters, and the Sinnoh starters.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but that's just too much bullshit to go through or you could do what I did and just trade to yourself because I've always had 2 or 3 Game Boys.
Believe me, I want what Mr. Refa said, because if you guys see my old avatar, like my favorite Pokemon is a Gen 5 grass starter. So
no, that's superior.
I can play with Snivy through our new generation. Believe me, I will say shut up and take my money to Game Freak.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, it would be cool if you could create your first team, and instead of it being like just one starter, you can choose the first 3. You could choose a grass.
I gotta say this. That's a little much for me, because if anything, 1 star is plenty, at least until you get to the post game.
Well, the reason I say it, because this game would be different, because basically right off the bat you're facing higher level Pokemon, and you have a real threat, not just we're kind of doing you could have some really dangerous stuff going on. You could have some really cool stuff going on, because I don't know about you, but I would love that. And also, one of the things I would really like from a new instead of what they did, in terms of new Pokemon, add some adding the fairy type was cool, but in the TMs and HMs, but maybe add you could add kind of like how in Pokemon Coliseum and Arena and Gale of Darkness, how basically you had your Pokemon's heart system, the more it trusted you, the more you opened up its heart.
The shadow Pokemon.
Yeah, you could have a variation of that, except the more Pokemon trusts you, the more effective its moves become. And then once it has 100%, can I finish?
Well, in Pokemon Sun and Moon, when you there's actually a system similar to that.
Yeah, I know, but I have a variation. I have a variation that might be really cool. Instead of with the TMs, basically, they removed HMs. But wouldn't it be cool if you could make custom TMs by combining TMs that your Pokemon already know? So you could combine Fire Wheel and Slash to become Fire Slash. So it's a physical.
Cool, man.
That is a really good idea. Actually.
I don't or the hidden machines. I actually like the hidden machines, but once a Pokemon fully trusts you, you can take. Well, here's the thing. Once a Pokemon fully trusts you, you can take the hidden machine and make it innate. So then it's no longer you no longer have to the Pokemon automatically knows it, and then you can combine that with a TM to do an SM, a secret move on top of your hidden machines and your technical machines.
Your
personally,
idea.
I'd say that you got a good idea, though. If anything, that would make the game a little bit iffy, and why not have a double? Why not have a double move, as in one move that takes up 2 Pokemon spaces?
Well, that's what I was thinking. The custom moves would be like that until your Pokemon basically had full trust in you. But once your Pokemon had full trust in you, 100%, it really loved you, you could take it to some dude who would basically charge you some decent amount of money, not ridiculously high, but decent amount, and would take that and turn it into a custom move that would take up 1 slot. But here's the thing. Custom moves are basically like they're kind of like TMs from way back in the day. That you like once you use a custom move, it's gone, and you can't like you can like maybe there's a hidden shop in the game where you could like relearn it, but like that would be really expensive to relearn a custom move. And I think that would be cool.
I think it will have to cost 2 hard scales to relearn it instead of 1.
Well, I was thinking money because money is always easier for people to understand.
Yeah, because to relearn moves, you have to use a hard skill in Pokemon games. So that's why I said. But you know something, at least for what was going, I was going about the HM that Mr. Red Fox said. If you're a Gen 4 fan like me, because Gen 4 is my second favorite generation, you're going to learn to hate HM, Mr. Red Fox.
Well, I mean, it never really bothered me because I always had 1 or 2 HM slaves. And I was okay having an HM slave.
Defog, Rock Climb, Strength.
Oh man, I
Surf.
them machines, man.
Well, no, surf was useful in battle too. It wasn't just I wasted this surf. No, surf and fly were good in fights too.
Yeah, but Diamond and Pearl had a lot of HMs you had to use, and probably your party was fucked with probably all your Pokemon wasting 1 or 2 moves in HM.
No, if you had 1 or 2 HM slaves, you were good. I mean,
Ruby and Sapphire suffer from the same problem too. That if you have a water type, it's going to be fucked with 3 goddamn HM moves: Waterfall, Surf, and Dive.
Well, I mean, like I said, if you had 1 or 2 HM slaves, you were good. Like, I mean, me, I always was. Once you could breed Snorlaxes, I was always good because Snorlax can learn like 3. Initially, when there were 5 HMs, they could learn 3 of them.
The problem with HM slaves is that I always complete the game with a 6 Pokemon party, and like Diamond and Pearl had the best HM. It introduced the best HM slave of all time, Bibaro. He can learn Strength, Cut, Waterfall, Surf, and
everything.
Rock Climb.
Yeah, he can learn everything.
Everything except Fly.
Like,
but
that's the reason. But like I said, Fly and Surf are like Fly and Surf. I don't feel bad teaching a flying type or water type Pokemon Fly or Surf because they are like Fly does decent damage. It also does. It's a flying. Yeah, it's a flying
attacks, right?
Actually, in double battles, Fly is really good. Like I have a wall. I was making a BGC team with a Braviary, and I teach him Fly, and I made him bulky. And when I think some Pokemon is going to attack Braviary, so I can defend the other partner, I will use Fly. The attacks will miss, and next turn I could strike while my teammate covers for me, so I don't get hit.
You know what one of my favorite strategies to use in Pokemon when I'm fighting in a doubles battle is I have this awesome I forgot. It's the evolved form of Vibrava. Damn, I forgot his name.
Flygon.
Yeah, I have a Flygon that knows Dig, and then I have my old Charizard that I've been trading for years that knows Dig, and some poor bastard tries to use Earthquake, inevitably, and it does jack shit because Flygon has Hover and Charizard's a Flying Fire type. It's so much fun destroying people.
I was about to say, it's trolls.
It does not. No, it's not a troll. It does great damage, and there's nothing they can do to stop it because you can't stop it. You can't.
Now that we have Pokemon fans on this chat, what do you guys think about Magic and Pokemon? You know what I mean?
You mean the card games?
No,
Magic.
You can explain.
You mean the Z moves?
No, Magic. I mean cheating.
Like
well, I never cheated in Pokemon.
Oh God, I could be really furious with that.
and especially YouTubers promoting cheating.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I'm not happy. I'm not good. I'm not cool. I don't like people who cheat in Pokemon. That's my.
yeah. I mean, I already get furious fire with some of these people, and the majority of the people in the Pokemon community, which I'm gonna be really hating or getting hate on for this. Most of them, in a sense, including the champions that play the tournaments, have been known for cheating.
Oh no,
Yeah.
but
I wish I could stay longer, but I'm gonna jump into the OGL podcast, y'all. So
oh
I'm gonna
god,
bounce. Peace.
oh god, I wanted to participate on that. So,
Oh boy. Well,
well,
maybe.
I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more because I like talking Pokemon a little bit because my channel is my channel. I want it to be centered about the franchise, yet I barely talk about it. Like
Yeah, that's not hard to see.
my avatars are all Gen 5 Pokemon, so probably I'm a huge Pokemon fan at this point. So, but I adopted a stance because I actually have a friend of Miiverse, like she said. We all despise a YouTuber called Burlesify, but I kind of like we hate him as
Uh,
we hate him as a person, but at least him and I are against cheating. Like we don't have to be like
I'm not against him really. I I'm against some of the thing. I'm against him as the fact that he's a Republican of all beeping things.
no. It's believe me, bro. Lisify is a shitty person in general. Like he told somebody to drink bleach because he didn't agree with him on a strategy.
I gotta get on the I gotta get on that case about that. But for cheating, at least I could get behind him on that.
No, I can get behind on the anti-shitty stand and the anti-smog stand, but I am not an
Yeah,
asshole. I'm not
but
an asshole about it like he is. Like, believe me, I've seen some really, really horrible stuff about Berluscify. The fact that even through most of his fan base are Gen 5 fans, he attacked Gen 5, then he went apologizing like a scared dog after his fan base lashed at him with dislikes. Being a hypocrite.
I
And
don't
I
understand. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and I was like, dude, if you say something, don't backtrack it because of popularity. You sound like a fucking tool.
I don't understand why some people hate some generations over others because
It, it was
in
it
my
was
book, look,
it,
I might get hated for this, but gameplay wise, I think that Pokemon games get better with time. Like each generation does something better than the last. Gameplay wise,
yeah, but here's the thing, especially when I hear the term Gen 1ers. It's the game was a lot easier back then, and we don't have to use all this beeping math.
yeah, but now today it's more. The gameplay's deeper. That's why I actually.
uh,
That's why
uh,
it's.
Pokemon
I
Gen
felt I
Gen
felt
One.
it was the best at Gen 6 of all times. I I'm a rotation. I'm a former rotation battler.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was in Gen
but
5, I think, the rotation battles.
believe me, I cried when rotation and triple battles were taken out of Gen 7.
Yeah, triple battles were fun, yeah.
Triple battles may be fun, but rotations was a lot more strategy and a lot more complex.
Yeah, actually, it does require some heavy mind games, and it was. I believe me, I love rotation battle, and you can actually do trick rooms in rotation battles. Double strategies. You can actually apply them like weather and trick room better in rotation battle.
Can I be honest with you guys on this? Look,
What is it?
me personally, when I play Pokemon, the I'm not very strategic. What I usually do is give only offensive moves that are super effective against types that could harm the Pokemon, and yeah.
Actually, that's a sound strategy. That's called offense, hyper
Yeah,
offense.
but it's the most basic strategy in Pokemon. Like you give your Pokemon moves that allows it to defend itself against types that are dangerous for hit. Like
Yeah, I understand what you're saying because that's how you play offense in Pokemon. Like it is.
Personally, I'm a more of a mixed type. Like I don't mind using stats moves, but I also want to use moves that have a status effect attached to them as well as using moves that are of different types.
Actually, I'm a jack of all trades. I can play any strategy well as long as I have the good synergy with my team.
Though, if anything, there's one Pokemon I go with an all status team for an exception. I mean, an all status Pokemon for an exception, which would be my which would be my move first. Lipard.
Oh yes, the prankster life part that it was the in during Gen 6 was everyone's nightmare in BGC. Too bad she got nerfed in Gen 7.
Yeah, can't hurt a dark type.
which one?
Liepard, the leopard
Lipard,
cat
Gen
from
7,
Gen
Gen
5.
5's cat Pokemon.
Oh yeah. I know.
She's the leopard cat that's based on a cat thief.
Yeah, that one. Okay, yeah, I know.
But actually, hell, I even use. I'm preparing to participate in the battle competition. I use the fucking ice cream in my team. Actually,
Oh, yeah.
Here's the thing. I think you probably heard this contrary, but that Lipard I use would have only 4 moves, which would be Attract, which is annoying since there's a lot of male Pokemon in play.
oh,
Thunder Wave.
you don't have to tell me. I mean, I got in the battle tree attracted sometimes, and it has cost me matches.
Oh, that's not the worst of the Lipard I have. It has Thunder Wave, which you already could guess how annoying that is.
Yeah, come go Parafusion, Swagger and Thunder and Paralysis can be one of the most annoying ordeals you can
Yeah,
have.
com- but Paratraction means that you actually don't get hurt, but you have harder times to move. Then you have a substitute, which makes it hard to even get hit in, even if that is if the person is paralyzed and hit with Attract. And then you have the one move, which is known as Assist. And Assist means that any Pokemon that's in your party, they can get their attacks in without using a PowerPoint move at the cost of Lipard's Assist.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good movie. You know how to strategize with it. Especially when people were assholes and will put a Dark Void, a Smear Goal in your team so you can use the Dark Void with assist. And that was, believe me, Dark Void's Smear Goal was a pain in the ass on double battles because of that strategy.
And thankfully, it got nerfed in Gen 7.
Gen 7 nerf all the good steam, but they leave the damn broken megas intact.
I was about to say, who was left intact?
The broken ass megas, Mega Metagross, Mega Salamence, Mega.
Actually, they're kind of not broke. You can't break them yet because I mean they're not broken yet because well they actually removed some of them to be in a game event to be events.
Yeah, but Mega Metagross, if you don't have a Scizor or a really bulky Pokemon, that thing will destroy your team without a second thought.
And let's not forget Smogon VGC 2016 and certain other past events. Let's just say you see a lot of the same beeping Pokemon all over the place. Like
in BGC, I can tell you the BGC ones Cresselia, Crafty, Amoonguss, Landorus T, Latios and Latias,
Smeargle.
Smeargle, Mega Gengar, Mega Kangaskhan, Talonflame in Gen 6.
Yeah, you could guess how motivated I was to actually partake in certain events.
I was like, oh dear, I got Moongoose in the team again. Yay! Because they were so
Screw
damn.
you, right?
That was like almost everything had a Moongoose on them, and I was like,
Yeah.
God,
And
you're
you know
like,
what the worst of it is? Most people there's been it's been the tears before it's been the tears list all over again saying these Pokemon are all that you need to win.
oh no, Gen 7, like the Smogon meta game in Gen 7 is one of the worst I've seen in a long time. It's
Gen 6 was bad too, but dang.
No, Gen 7 is practically Ash Greninja, Mega Metagross,
I was gonna say
Pheromosa,
they
Tapu.
did you know that they banned Pheromosa?
Oh yes, it was about damn time. And now Landorus Stevian is now destroying the meta game.
I was gonna say Pheromosa is weak as tissue paper.
Oh, but if you don't got priority, and she
As I
gotta be,
said, weak
and
as toilet paper if you because people know that if you got priority and you got like a cell rock, then you can easily turn that Pokemon into your next turn
oh no,
into your next
believe
paper.
me, she can die from a quick attack actually.
Yes,
like
but
like
people
like
keep
she
on saying that she's too powerful. Well, why don't you remove the Pokemon that have those superpower moves that could take on Pheromosa? Oh wait, you don't want your precious Landorus to be hurt.
no
Heck
actually
you!
Smogon is now pushing for Landers and Mega Metagross to be banned actually.
I barely believe that because of anything here's the thing. Smogon is the worst piece of beeping beep 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 around. Period. It has no logic. It has no sense.
Actually, I hate Smogon for a different reason. It kind of destroys creativity in
And
Pokemon.
that's another thing. They don't even have the ball. They don't even have the followers to be creative and just want to say, "Ooh, this is hurting my superpower team." Bam, 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 please.
Like I went to Pokemon Showdown. There was people scoffing at me for using Gigalith, a supposedly inferior Pokemon, and I was like, "Why the hell would I use the same goddamn 8 Pokemon everyone is using this gen? Like, what's the point in winning if your team is going like how many Landers, Tertivians, Ash Greninjas,
Guys,
Tapu? What?
I'll drop out of the conversation because I really, really want to play Breath of the Wild. So I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, I think I'm going to end the random talks because it's been a long ass time since I started. And so, guys, anything you want to say before you sign off?
Well, just one thing. I've I've recently been doing plenty of my two coins and Mystery Science YouTube.
And you, metalhead, you want to say something?
Not really, to be honest.
So,
Just saying that I look forward to the next podcast, whether it's BS Busters or this one.
actually, with you guys, I can actually. I think of adding one more. We can talk a Pokemon. We can do a Pokemon podcast when we talk about Pokemon stuff.
Yeah, it depends because I'm gonna be honest with you guys. In the last few minutes, you kind of lost me. Not because it's not interesting, because from what I can see, you guys are way, way, way more competitive than me in Pokemon.
No, but we can talk about every facet of Pokemon. Competitive is just one. Like we can talk about the Pokemon themselves, what we want in the next game, mechanics, just stuff like that.
Oh, well, in that case, that
Yeah.
changes everything.
Yeah, not everything. That's
There,
something I want to say to the Pokemon fan base. Not everything in this franchise has to be competitive. Pokemon can be enjoyed from certain angles other than just competitive battling.
Well,
yeah.
I consider myself semi-competitive because I have my strategies are very basics,
So,
like all offensive moves, all super effective moves, and all 100% accuracy.
Because I plan on doing a Pokecast that has is being on my mind. It has been on my mind. It's about Gen 1 pandering and how
oh God, I
and
hope
how,
you invite me for that one.
and how I starting to hate that direction Game Freak is taking, and they need to stop before the before because it is getting like Gen 7 did it such a way where I'm starting to get sick of it at this point.
You get. If anything, I'm going to agree with you. Gen 1 could suck a big, fat sausage for
Yeah,
all the fan pandering.
yeah.
Well,
To
since,
to,
since
to
I'm not too much involved with those communities, I mean, I'm not.
No, but
I don't.
I'm talking about the games themselves, like the Alolan form where only Gen 1 Pokemon. Seriously, Game Freak. Like
Yeah.
There's a lot more Pokemon that could use this kind of treatment. I mean, look at some of the great ones. Zangoose. There's there's
hell,
Stompunk. There's
Deviant
even
I saw in DeviantArt a Alolan Axio idea where it was a poison. Supposedly, the idea was that it grew in a toxic waste environment, and they became quadrupeds because of the mutation. But they acquired poisonous tusk, and they became dragon poison. And it was a quadrupedal Haxorus dripping poison from his tusk, and it looked badass. The idea.
yes. And what do? They found one panda to sleep in hell.
No, they just added hair to Ductrio and calling a steel
As I
type.
said, they fan one pander to hell.
Yeah, but anyway, I'm going to
Cut this down.
to cut this down. Have a good day, guys. See you later.